of Allegiance. Would you stand, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I'll do the oath of office to the new board members. Ms. Mulgren.
Okay, this evening we have two new board members, Fred Bonacci and Rod Armstrong. Would you please stand and raise your right hand? I'll read the oath of office and you will respond with "I do." Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a board member of the Board of Education of the Stow Munroe Falls City School District, Summit County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified? Okay, I would like you to sign these and they'll go into the official record of the district.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong?
Here.
Mr. Bonacci?
Here.
Mrs. Powers?
Here.
Mr. Spangler?
Here.
Mrs. Wright?
Here.
Superintendent's report.
Point of order. My point of order is that the bylaws specifically call out the agenda for the organizational meeting, and the superintendent's report comes later, and that should be given later in this meeting. I talked to the superintendent prior to this, but the agenda was never changed for that.
Thank you. I believe what is going to happen here is the superintendent's report deals with the recognition of former school board members, and after we get down...
This is, point of order is a non-debatable. You just have to decide on if it is in agreement with the bylaws, if you are going to agree with the bylaws.
Then we could take a vote on waiving the bylaws at this time for that particular item.
I don't think you can waive the bylaws.
I think we can.
You have to do it prior to the meeting. You need to decide if you're going to follow the bylaws.
So what we're going to do is we're going to follow the bylaws specifically, and then at the end of the meeting, or close to the end of the meeting, recognize the former school board members.
Yeah, present. I don't have a problem recognizing the board members, present or past, but we need to follow our bylaws. That's I mean, that sets the tone and starts to build respect.
Well,
We should have.
It might set the tone for you, but I think it would set the tone for the former board people to be recognized early on and move on with the meeting.
Okay. Well, let's move on with our organization.
I did have a conversation, Mr. Armstrong and I did have a conversation about this, and I did share with him.
But we talked about this is non-debatable. Okay, I don't want it. There's non-debatable.
Did share.
It is non-debatable, Russ. I know we have.
I did share with you that I would share your concerns with the other board members and canvass them to see if they wanted to change the agenda. I think I did do that. Is that accurate?
Yes, it's accurate.
And what I got from the rest of the board was to keep the agenda as it was.
Did you get back with me?
I met with you yesterday.
Yeah, but did you talk to me about that?
Well, we met for 2 hours, and I don't think that topic came up.
This is non-debatable, so this is part of following our agenda, Russ. I asked for the agenda prior to the change to be in compliance with the bylaws. Now, we are either going to follow the bylaws or not.
Well, we had a conversation, I told you I would canvass the board and see what they thought. I thought that was amicable for you when we ended this conversation.
And I asked.
Again, we could canvass the board, find a vote on it, and then move on.
It's not a canvas, it's we can follow the bylaws.
I would like to say that January is School Board Recognition Month. And it's really important that we spend some time thanking and congratulating our board members for the work that they do. And there's an awful lot of time that they spend in meetings and on the phone with me and others, and phone calls from community members, and we certainly appreciate that. They do get paid a little bit for these meetings, but the amount of time and effort you put into this, we just want to thank you. So I do have a proclamation to read, and I would like to give this proclamation, a copy of this proclamation to all of you. And this is from the Ohio School Boards Association, which is your association. This is entitled School Board Recognition Month Proclamation. Whereas it shall be the mission of the Stow Munroe Falls City School District to provide all students with the best possible education. And whereas the school board sets the direction for our community's public schools by envisioning the community's education future. Whereas the school board sets policies and procedures to govern all aspects of school district operation. And whereas the school board keeps attention focused on progress toward the school district's goals and maintains a two-way communication loop with all segments of the community. And whereas serving on the school board requires an unselfish devotion of time and service to carry on the mission and business of the school district. And whereas the school board must respond on behalf of the community to the educational needs of students. And whereas the school board voluntarily accepts the above-mentioned responsibilities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Superintendent Dr. Russell D. Jones, do hereby proclaim January 2012 as School Board Recognition Month in Stow and Munroe Falls, and I encourage all citizens to publicly and privately thank the school board members from all school districts serving this community for their dedicated service to our children. Signed by me, dated January 9th, 2012. So I sincerely thank all of you for your service. We have a copy of this certificate we'd like to give you. We also have a certificate of recognition from me that we'd like to give to all of you. And finally, the Ohio School Boards Association has sent a certificate to each of you in sincere appreciation for exemplary leadership and service to public schools presented to each of you. So if you will allow us, Mrs. Vlogger and I would like to please thank you for your service. Mr. Armstrong? And Mr. Benacci? And Mr. Spangler. And Mrs. Wright. And Mrs. Collins. We also would like to recognize, again, being January School Recognition Month, we'd like to recognize kind of officially our two outgoing school board members. We have a certificate of recognition signed by me, similar to what was given to the other board members, and also a certificate from OSBA for both of them. And we have taken the liberty to put together a copy of the proclamation that I read, along with their nameplate. Both of these individuals served at one time or another as school board president. So this one reads, and she would please come forward, Pat Matthews, board president.
Certainly appreciate it. Thanks to both of you. Come down.
And the other outgoing board member we'd like to recognize with a similar designation. Again, Denny served as board president and the letter of recognition. Very well. Thank you for allowing us to.
Yes. Nominations now for president of the board for 2012. Call for nomination.
Let's nominate Karen Powers for president.
Nomination Mrs. Powers. Anyone else? Move to close nomination.
I do.
Yeah, well, she nodded. The nod is good. Move to close nomination. Move. Is there a second? Okay, and moved and seconded to close the nominations. Roll call.
Mr. Bonacci.
Aye.
Mrs. Powers.
Aye.
Mr. Spangler.
Aye.
Mrs. Wright.
Aye.
Mr. Armstrong.
Aye.
Officially, the president, Karen Powers, will conduct the rest of the meeting.
I assume that we don't have to take a roll call for close or the acclamation.
Yes, you have to do the election. Sorry. That's one more vote.
Is there a motion to close with by now, elect by now, acclamation?
So moved.
I'll second. And move the second to Ms. Powers by acclamation. Roll call.
Mrs. Powers.
Aye.
Mr. Spangler.
Aye.
Mrs. Wright.
Aye.
Mr. Armstrong.
Aye.
Mr. Bonacci.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Okay, we have another oath of office. Stand and raise your right hand. Do you, Karen Powers, as board president, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a board president of the Board of Education of the Stow Munroe Falls City School District, Summit County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereinafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified.
I do.
Okay, great.
like to move forward for nominations for Vice President of the Board.
I'd like to nominate Mrs. Wright for Vice President.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Okay, then I need a motion, please,
Move to close.
close.
Second.
Thank you. It was moved by Mr. Spangler, seconded by Mr. Armstrong. And then now roll call.
Mr. Spangler.
Aye.
Mrs. Wright.
Aye.
Mr. Armstrong.
Aye.
Mr. Benacci.
Aye.
Mrs. Spangler.
Aye. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion for the election of the Vice President, please.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Spangler, and seconded by Mrs. Collins. Roll call.
Mrs. Wright.
Aye.
Mr. Armstrong.
Aye.
Mr. Benacci.
Aye.
Mrs. Powers.
Aye.
Mr. Spangler.
Aye.
One more oath this evening for the office of Vice President.
Please stand and answer unto. Do you, Karen Wright, as Board Vice President, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a Board Vice President of the Board of Education of the Stow Munroe Falls City School District, Summit County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified? Okay, noted.
Prior to going forward, I have an announcement about liaisons for the upcoming year. Please let me know if everyone is okay with them. First one I have is athletics, and that will be Mrs. Powers. Community relations will be all members of the board. Education will be Mr. Spangler and Mrs. Powers. Facilities will be Mr. Benacci. Finance will be Mr. Armstrong and Mrs. Wright. Legislation will be Mr. Armstrong. And the levy committee will contain all members. Personnel will be Mr. Benacci. Policy will be Mr. Spangler. And technology will be Mrs. Wright and Mrs. Powers. And OSBA has requested that we assign a liaison to a legislation and a student achievement committee. And for legislation, we have Mr. Armstrong, and for student achievement, we have Mr. Spangler. Okay. Okay, thank you. I need a motion now to establish the regular meeting dates and times for 2012 as detailed in Exhibit 1.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Spangler, seconded by Mrs. Wright. Roll call. I'm sorry, would you like to discuss it?
Okay.
The one thing I wanted to bring up on the meetings was that we've been having the community meetings always at 6 o'clock. And right now, we're pretty much agreed because the school calendar has that in it until mid-year. But I'd like to maybe get input from the community if 6 is still a good time from them, from now till, I believe, April or so.
April or May.
April, May, we
General.
have to reprint the school calendar. At that time, we revisit the community meetings to have either a later time or something like that. So if the community does have any input.
Okay, that's fine, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong.
Aye.
Mr. Benacci.
Aye.
Mrs. Powers.
Aye.
Mr. Spangler.
Aye.
Mrs. Wright.
Aye.
The next item is to approve the board service fund for $20,000 in accordance with ORC 3315.15.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Spangler, seconded by Mrs. Wright. If there's no discussion, can I have a roll call?
Mr. Benacci?
Aye.
Mrs. Powers?
Aye.
Mr.
Spangler?
Aye.
Mrs. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Armstrong?
Aye.
Tax advances. Authorize the treasurer to obtain advances against tax collections as prescribed by Ohio Revised Code 321.24 from the county auditor in order to meet current expenses. Can I have a motion, please? to Approve that?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Wright, seconded by Mr. Bonacci. And roll call.
Mrs. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Spangler?
Aye.
Mrs. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Armstrong?
Aye.
Mr. Bonacci?
Aye.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to call for a separate vote on items J and N on the consent agenda, please. The authorize the professional meetings and the legal advisors.
Okay, would you like to do each item separately?
No, this is separate votes.
What are the two letters?
J and
J
N.
and N.
Can I have a motion, please, to recommend the following standard authorizations be approved for the calendar year 2011, is that what's supposed to be 12? Okay. With the exception of item J and item N, would be A through M on those. Can I have a motion, please? So moved.
So moved. So moved.
Okay, so it was moved by Mr. Armstrong and seconded by Mr. Spangler. Can I have a roll call?
Mr. Spangler?
Aye.
Mrs. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Armstrong?
Aye.
Mr. Bonacci?
Aye.
Mrs. Powers?
Aye. Okay, items J now and N together. Is that fine with you?
No, each one.
Each
I'd like
one
to have
separately?
discussion, yeah. That's
Okay.
That's the reason I wanted to separate this, because we have some discussion.
Okay.
Read J.
Authorize the superintendent and treasurer to send school employees to professional meetings within the amount of appropriations.
Discussion.
Yes.
Yes, okay. The discussion I wanted to have with that, Mr. President, is that I would like to, not have approved that in the standard authorizations at this time, because we are looking at still some financial hardships in that, and there's certain training that may not correspond with the future needs of the district, such as IB, and that we'd like to do an analysis on that before we pay for more training. I would like to see that done before I pay for more training from the district. So, analysis on, do we want that type of curriculum in the district? That's my discussion.
So is this in relation just to IB or to other?
Well,
Professional
if we
development.
look at it right now, since it doesn't specify IB there, we have to just say, and then we can come back later and optimize on the others. But we need to look at some of all this spending. That's one area.
And in one respect, you want it specific, and then another you want it general, so I don't know how we can get those.
We can, we just can do it. At this point in time, the way it's worded, we can just say no, and then we can come back with another agenda item with more specific.
Okay, so would you like to make a motion to that, please?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we not approve item J.
As written. Or just
As
not
written.
approved?
As written.
gonna have to do something with it, so as written.
We can do something later as a later.
Exactly.
It's already, this is true.
Motion to approve it. It's
Not
already.
to- As written. Motion is not to approve item J as written.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Wright?
No?
Mr. Armstrong?
Aye.
Mr. Benacci?
Aye.
Mrs. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Spangler?
Aye.
Okay, then we will now move on to item N. Yes.
So it's just
Wait a minute.
as written, J is off the table now, and they'll have to come back up. Well, you'll have to come back up next meeting.
On item N, it's to point, on item N, is to appoint legal advisors. There's 6, including, if we include the Ohio school boards, there's 7. That is an area that I had looked at earlier, and it seemed like there was quite a bit of expense there. I personally feel there's probably opportunity there. That there's a lot of firms that can do 95% of it, and only 1%, and leave about 5% that they would have to source out. There was also a letter from the Summit County ESC from a firm offering some discount legal advice and that, legal for the district. I
What firm is
personally
that? I
feel.
haven't seen that item.
Pardon?
What firm is that? I haven't seen that item. From the ESC?
Yeah, the ESC, who was that? That was Markland. Okay, and that was Markland. And we also, I personally feel that I need to do a further analysis. There was quite a bit of attorney fees paid, $200,000-300,000. We've paid attorney fees through the ESC, over $100,000 to the ESC. We paid over $50,000 on AARP money. I think we have to sit down and do an analysis. Or not, but the.
Art.
Yeah, not the
Art.
Yeah.
Not art.
The TARP. Yes. Yes.
All right.
For,
Right.
but, so, and that's why, like, right now, I'd like to not approve that until further analysis can be completed and decide if maybe we want to go with the firm on retainer. That's happened in the past, and it worked out well for the district. So that's basically part of the discussion.
As part of the discussion, I believe these are the ones that, these are the folks that we're approving to use if necessary.
That's correct.
It's not an all-inclusive we could have, am I correct?
That is correct.
But it have to be voted or we'd have to approve it at the time.
That is correct.
But as of this writing, there's someone here that might be working on an item that if we said that won't work, then all of a sudden we'll have to pull off. I don't think that at the time, I think if we go through the year and suggest that maybe one or more of these would not be acceptable, we could then eliminate it. But for right now, without getting the book out, finding out what all these people are into for us and disassociate ourselves with it would be not the best interest of the board.
I appreciate that. I also would like to add that I think it's something that we, Dr. Jones and I are proud about the tax complaint firm that we utilize.
has since we've used them, which would include tax year 2007. They were brought on in 2008. They have saved for the district well over $1 million in the services that they've given back to this district, which, by the way, is more than we've spent since '08. So I can understand the concern about spending dollars for legal fees, but they have always, first of all, they've always been to benefit this school district and never have been used in a way that has been considered to be frivolous. So I think that it is something that is necessary for our school district to be protected, and everyone on the list here is highly recommended by both the superintendent and I, and we would appreciate the board's support to continue with these firms.
I think if, I follow Dick, I think we can approve these and necessarily use them, but could take them away. And I would welcome, Rodney, your analysis on future law firms that you feel that might benefit this district better. But I think, as Dick said, I think we could prove it, but not necessarily mean we have to use them, or at a later date, remove them, and add some of the products that maybe benefit us.
My thought on that was that we would bring them in as an exception. Okay, if we needed this, then we would approve it. You do not have to approve the attorneys at the organization. This is something that does not have to be in the standing authorizations. Okay. On the other response to that, I believe that any good attorney would have saved us millions of dollars. That's their job. That's what we would pay them to do. So yes, I hope that a firm out there that you did save us millions of dollars. But maybe there's other firms out there that might save us millions of more dollars, and without as high as fees.
Well, with all due respect, for one, the firm Squire, Sanders, and Dempsey are the firm that we utilize to write the district's language to put a levy on the ballot. In this upcoming year, we have a levy on the ballot, or scheduled to be on the ballot this year for a renewal. And absent using them, if we did use, let's say, Mark Ling, he does not have, is licensed in bond counsel, and if for some reason the levy passed and the treasurer needed to borrow against that money, we would not be able to follow through and get that because he couldn't follow up with the bond counsel recommendations. So Squire, Sanders, and Dempsey is used specifically for their bond counsel experience, and again, that's protection for the district. And in terms of how long it takes them to turn around in comparison to, I've worked with Markland before, we spend more in hours for Markland to turn it around than we would Squire, Sanders, and Dempsey because of their experience in that field. Again, I would recommend that the board approve the items listed, and again, if we don't need them, we have on the list Britton Smith Peters and Khalil Company, LPA. That actually is the firm that our insurance company works with for a case that our insurance would cover the cost of. Absent having your approval for them, we wouldn't be able to utilize our insurance without pulling the board together in a special meeting to approve them in the event that there's an item that is an insurance issue that would beckon the experience of Britton Smith, Peters, and Quill. So all of the items listed here are again highly recommended by the superintendent and treasurer, and we appreciate the board's support to move forward.
My concern is not that we, and I'm not saying that we will not use them or that we may use them. The concern is the open checkbook at this point in time to use whenever and however. That is my concern.
Well,
By
that
making
would
a
be
standing
questioning.
authorization, we have given you an open checkbook to just whenever you want to use the attorneys.
And you do pay
I'd
us
like
to
to
do
have a little
that.
bit tighter control on that. And at the board level.
Then if we have to come together each time to approve this, or doing another meeting, which to me, if
We
they're
would,
already
it would,
authorized,
it should be able to come at a normal business meeting, I believe with proper
how do you
planning.
know which one of these will be in a situation where it has to be done before a meeting?
There are allowances for that. in the
That's
county
what we're
system.
giving them, the allowances to
This is
people.
this is just a blank check, but this is giving
Yeah, I
all the
disagree.
allowances. If there's an emergency, okay, there is an allowance in the revised code that allows you to spend money.
It's also an argument on behalf of the administration. They have to be able to do their work. We're not administrators. They have to choose the best to get the job done. I'm sure they're looking at cost savings too, and we have to trust these people to do that, and that's why we have 2 meetings a month, so that we can analyze this. I would say that maybe we should stop the discussion and call a question.
Okay, I agree. Would you like to make a specific motion as far as that goes, Mr. Armstrong?
We've got a motion
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
for
Yeah,
the
motion.
A&N, or
It's a motion for written.
The motion would be, I don't know what's going on. The motion would be to not approve M as written at this point.
that's the motion.
Okay. Is there a second? Yeah. I'm sorry, the motion fails to pass because of lack of a second. So do we now go and approve it? Can I have a motion to approve item N?
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Spangler, seconded by Karen Wright. Roll call?
Mr. Armstrong,
No.
Mr. Bonacci,
Yes.
Mrs. Powers,
Aye.
Mr. Spangler,
Aye.
Mrs. Wright.
Dr. Jones, your recommendation?
Thank you, Ms. Powers. I only have 2 tonight. We tried to make sure that most of our business items would be in the January 23rd meeting, particularly with the 2 new board members. We wanted to make sure they were up to speed with everything happening, and also that they had a chance to ask questions and provide their input and feedback. But there are 2 that are somewhat pressing. One is for the board to consider the AP, or Advanced Placement Test Coordinator stipend. And this kind of goes back to last spring, the Ohio Attorney General issued an opinion that said an outside organization like a university, or in this case the College Board, who runs the AP organization, cannot directly pay one of our employees for work that they do. And we've approved a couple of those recently from both Kent State and Akron, in which we accept student teachers from those schools, and we have our teachers who work with those students, and they're called cooperating teachers. And typically, the university will pay those cooperating teachers a stipend of some sort, like $150, or they may have a choice to get some reduced credit hours or reduction for taking a class. The Ohio Attorney General said that they can no longer do that. They need to send the check to the school district. It would go through Mrs. Baldwin's office, and then Mrs. Baldwin would pay those cooperating teachers through her office. Now, the College Board does provide a stipend for our AP coordinator, which is Mr. Martinelli, our guidance counselor at the high school. There's a lot involved with that. He has to advertise the testing dates, order the appropriate number of tests in the appropriate subject areas. He has to collect the payment because kids pay to take that test. Process all of that, get that to the College Board, receive the test, do the count, and that's when it comes to test coordination. Test booklets and answer sheets are critical. Coordinating with our teachers who are teaching AP when those tests will be, monitoring those tests in terms of timing and that type of thing, collecting, counting, answer sheets, sending it back to the College Board in the appropriate fashion that they are expecting, communicating results to kids and parents, and And so they do have a $500 stipend for him to do this work. And we have the check, and we would like to pay Mr. Martinelli for his work he's about to do with the AP. So the recommendation is to approve that stipend as the AP test coordinator.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
I just have a few questions on this. This is basically pass-through money, right?
Yeah, it
Now,
comes-
now, pass-through money, correct? And I just want to bring a point back, because I'm not sure of that. So then give the check, say it's 500, I'm not sure, but you say 500, if it's $500, we then write the check for $500. Then this district also pays, does that go into like a W-2 earnings? And
Yes.
the district also then pays 14% for the retirement, and then the 1.45% for Medicare. So by decision, now the district is liable for another extra $75 or so that we never paid out before now, right?
That is correct.
Just want to make that, those type of things all have ramifications, that, even though it's beyond our control, and it's a job that has to be done. But we have to be aware of all those ramifications on our costs, even though $75 here and there adds up.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, moved by Mrs. Wright, seconded by Mr. Spangler. Roll call.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Spangler?
Aye.
Mrs. Wright? Mr. Armstrong?
Aye.
Item B is a interim administrative contract. This is for Ken Miller, who recently retired from our school district as a longtime teacher and very, very successful golf coach, and continues to be our golf coach, and wished our great success this year. He has also worked as a faculty manager, and is very, very knowledgeable about the workings in our athletic department. The contract is to serve as a substitute for Mr. Feldman, who is our current athletic director. As the board knows, he is going to go on an extended medical leave, and we expect this assignment to last no more than 2 months. That's what we understand. Mr. Miller has, again, been working as faculty manager and is well prepared and prepped to serve in that capacity and has all of our confidence. So I do wish to recommend the Board of Education approve Ken Miller as the interim athletic director as presented for the exhibit number 2.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Ready to vote? Okay, it was moved.
Which Kyle will.
Yes, absolutely. It was moved by Mr. Spangler and seconded by Mr. Bonacci. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Spangler?
Aye.
Mrs. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Armstrong?
Aye.
Mr. Bonacci?
Aye.
And the next item is upcoming board agenda items.
I'll start with the treasurer's recommendations. So far slated for your approval at the 23rd board meeting would be the December financial report and check register. And there will be a revision to the permanent appropriation resolution. On the good note, we were notified that we will receive $21,000 for our education jobs grant for this year. That will offset a salary of a teacher in our district. On a bad note, 2 of our title funds were hit with a reduction, one to the tune of almost $8,000 and the other one a little over $4,000 has been taken away. So the amount that will be budgeted will be less in those respects, and more on the education jobs grant. When you originally approved the permanent appropriation resolution, the education jobs grant amount was 0. We weren't anticipating to get any this year. So as you know, that document is the document that gives me the legal authority to put that money on our books and spend it. Absent your approval, we can't book that yet. So I will ask for that. We will begin receiving funds hopefully in February. Are there any questions? That would be it from me at this point in time.
And I have a number of items to share with the board that we are expecting to bring to you for your consideration on the 23rd. Again, this caveat is, this is what we are aware of at this point in time, so we're trying to give you all the information that we have. One is a contract for the resource officer at Clifton Middle School, and that is a contract with the city of Munroe Falls. That price for that is approximately $33,000. That the resource officer at Clifton, they do not have a grant to help support the payment of that. Their hope is that we as a board and they as a city can share in about 50-50 cost for that resource officer. Gable does officer Gable, I should say, does a phenomenal job with our kids and supports the administration and teachers. So we will have that contract for your consideration. The cost of that has been increasing slightly over the last couple of years, I think.
And that is already, that cost increase has been incorporated into the 5-year forecast, so it has been anticipated as a part of our budget at this point in time.
So the second item that we know is going to be coming, we're going to have 2 or 3 LEAP placements. You know, LEAP is the program that handles severely behaviorally handicapped students. We certainly try to make all the accommodations we can to handle the needs of those students in our classrooms. But in some cases, based on the IEP team's decision and what resources we have available to us, that this type of placement is really in the best interest of the student and financially for the district as well. So we'll probably have 2 or 3 of those. We also will have some general employment issues, including we know at this point we'll have 3 FMLAs, family medical leave, for you to approve. All 3 of these individuals have children, so we're requesting that leave. We have 2 of our teachers have indicated that they would be willing to serve as home instruction tutors. And I think, as you know, when you have children who are homebound for one reason or another, maybe they had surgery or maybe there's some other issues going on, and we need to provide them some home instruction. It's great to have more certified folks we have that are willing to do that, the better service we can provide. So we'll be asking to approve our 2 additions. We've talked before about the student teacher stipends that we've approved that we can pay through Mrs. Bullivan's office. Kent and Akron have already been approved. We also would like to get your approval to do that with Hiram College and Malone College, because we have some student teacher requests through those universities. Spark plug tutors. This is something we've done at Indian Trail for a number of years, ever since I've been here. Those are after-school teachers who work after school, additional hours to work with students who we've identified are having special needs. These are paid through Title I dollars. Again, something we've been doing for some time. That is, again, there are 6 that we recommend. We have a donation coming from the Darrow Street Grange. They are providing $750 to Lakeview School for their outdoor education camp. And then we also have, what we're expecting is, as per the certified contract teachers, February 1st is the deadline for teachers to share with us if they plan to retire at the end of the school year. And again, as per the contract, if they do that, and they do indeed retire, they are given a $5,000 bonus to let us know in advance. Now, part of the help with us is it's really good for us to know that up front, so that when we go out looking for their replacement, we have the opportunity to hire the best and brightest that are out there early on in the search for teachers, because we're not the only school district that will be looking for teachers next year. If we don't find out till July, pool of teachers has dwindled by that time. So that was the thinking some time ago when that was put in the contract. So we would expect that we'll be seeing some of those retirements. I did send the board an email today with 3 attachments regarding the high school program of studies that's proposed for the 2012-2013 school year. And I was with the work with Mrs. Scher, principal care, and her staff, and looking at new courses that we may want to offer for next school year. Also, there's some language changes in there. Some of it's based on changes in state regulations that we have to pay attention to. Changes in testing dates. The AP exam, for example, has increased a little bit. So we tried to, what you got, we tried to highlight in yellow language changes. Some pretty interesting new courses that the high school is proposing that we make available to our students next year. One including AP psychology. Another one is biomedical technology, which is really kind of for kids who are interested in a medical career. Dr. Mary Moore, who former medical doctor, now on our staff, is teaching that. We also have another course I think is quite interesting called, I believe it's called The Power of the Word in Print. And the idea is to analyze speeches and written documents for their technical work, or content, and those kinds of things. So I found that to be fascinating. There's another class called Mathematical Reasoning that is intended for juniors or seniors who have gone through a math sequence and not interested in calculus or AP statistics, still want to take that 4th year of math, which is required, and which will help them bridge that gap as they get into college. So those are some highlights of what you'll be seeing. So we got that to you today, and again, we plan to bring that the 23rd. So please take a look. If you get a chance, you have any questions, let me know, and we can hopefully I'll give you that 2 weeks. We'll give you enough time to take a look at your approval. We know at this point we'll have 3 supplemental contracts, 2 assistant lacrosse coaches. I remember correctly, I believe they're both graduates or still in the Falls High School. And also we'd like to recommend our new head baseball coach. There also will likely be, or there may be, a recommendation for the disposal of equipment from Lakeview Elementary School. Principal Andy Yanchunas has taken upon himself to literally roll his sleeves up and try to recoup some unused space in the building. If you're familiar with Lakeview, it used to be a high school, and west of the gym, there are a couple of locker rooms back there. There's some music rehearsal areas that are being used, but if you go north of that, there's quite a bit of storage area that's housing a lot of stuff, some Apple computers that I think were made before I was in school, if you believe that. Curriculum materials. That used to be the old IMC Center. It used to be like a vocational, media hub in which stuff was sent out to all the buildings. And that was, that certainly served its purpose, but a lot of that stuff has just kind of been sitting there. Now, typically what we do is provide you all the disposable stuff at the end of the year. But Mr. Yanchunas is trying to get that cleared out so that he can create a couple computer labs back there, which the building desperately needs. So if he's able to get that, all that work together, we'll start probably, you might see that a couple times actually, because there's so much stuff. And I also sent out to the board, you might remember, a special education kind of breakdown of the number of teachers we have in each building and also the number of students. And as you know, there are state maximums that we are allowed to have based on the type of disability that those teachers are serving. I want to compliment Dr. Saturnow for being very frugal with her federal dollars and only using the personnel that we absolutely have to have at the beginning of the school year. But she also, in her wisdom, understands that kids will be added in different schools and different programs over the year, so she budgeted to have additional dollars in case we would need to add additional personnel. We did add an additional half-time person at Echo Hills recently because of increase in numbers, and we have broken that state threshold at Woodland Elementary, so we will be recommending a half-time intervention specialist paid out of federal dollars to accommodate those numbers. So those are the items that I have at this point in time that I know that will be coming in.
On the resource officer, we've always had one.
Since I've been doing it.
Yes.
Right. Pardon?
Since I've been doing it.
Yeah, so we've always had lab committee. We've always paid, or have we had monies to help pay for that?
To pay out of general fund.
It's always been paid.
We've always paid, yes.
Okay, so that's no new thing, right?
Right.
You're saying that's not an added cost, right?
Other than they've been bumping it up like $1,000 each year to try to get to that
Right.
50%.
You have an annual economics factor, and you just do that whole line item across that economics factor, right?
Yes.
Like 4% or 3%,
Yeah.
whatever that is in your budget. So, I mean, that's just in your normal economics. Well, that's no big. That's normal. Have we ever tried to get help from the city or any
Yes.
other grants?
Yes. They'll not, but it's either their price or they hike.
Yeah. But no, I'm talking about the federal grants or something like
There's no federal grants, but it's, they're very,
that. I
they're
know
very
the
tight.
police department's getting a lot of.
Police department, that police department. We do get, I believe we do get grants from Stow.
City of Stow does receive.
And they charge us less. But they don't have grants.
Unfortunately, has a very small police.
That's it.
Yeah, I understand.
In the defense of Mayor Larson and.
Oh, he's done a great job.
They have certainly indicated that they would be happy, they would be happy to help pursue grants, but at this point, they don't have.
Yeah, Mayor Larson's done a fantastic job. The only other thing I saw, on the course approval, when is the drop dead date on that? On the course, approving for the courses? I mean, 2 weeks to look at it, and really do a downtown analysis to see, we talked about adding 7, 8 classes, and I don't know, what that means as far as the financial ramifications of that, or any of that.
Well, I'm not sure it's 7 or 8, but maybe not quite
I
that
think I'll
much.
take off about 7 or 8 there.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, we went through, anyway, there was quite a few classes we ticked off there, and I'd like to really see what, we want to add the good classes. Biotech is a moving field right now.
Well, to answer your
Really
question,
good.
first of all, we have about 1,850 students
Yeah,
at the high
right.
school. So that's the number we're going to keep our eye on. It's not the number of classes we offer, but it's the number of students we have to serve and how big those class sizes are
That's,
and run.
now you can, how big are
Well,
the class
we
sizes?
do know that. Now, what we do, what I can tell you, you need to work backwards from April 30th, because if we are going to tell a teacher that they're going to be reduced, we don't need their services anymore, that needs to happen before April 30th. So as you work your way back, there also are contractual.
So that's all I wanted to know, was what was the drop dead date?
Well, we need to talk about that so that I can get to that answer of when we need to approve the program of studies. So there are contractual obligations and legal obligations in terms of giving teachers notice and a chance to appear before the board with representation if we decide to reduce them. So we have to meet all those obligations and then also come to a board meeting to make that reduction prior to April 30th. So we need to get all those numbers. Kids need to sign up for all those classes. We get all the spreadsheets and find out what classes we can run depending on the number of kids that are going to be involved in those classes, which ones we can't run. And we have to go back to the kids and say, who signed up for courses that we're not going to run. We say, only 12 kids signed up for the class.
Okay.
So you gotta take something else. Now, they sign up for something else, and there's a lot of kids that fall into that category. Now we see what the new numbers look like, and so that's the whole process. That really needs to start early in February to try to get to a quicker answer.
Given all
That
that.
gets us to that, allows us to meet all those obligations and understand
Given
our
all that,
responsibilities.
so you would say probably then drop dead would be the first meeting in February.
We could probably get away with that. That's starting to push a little bit. What we typically have done is put on the program of studies pending board approval. So if there's a course, for example, that the board objects to, we would go back to the students and say, we were hoping to offer this, but the Board of Education decided not to, so you need to pick something else.
Because I mean, it's not the new courses, that, maybe there's some older courses or something that we're not utilizing that could make room for some of the newer courses, which offer some of the newer
Well,
technology.
what happens is, if we don't get enough kids to sign up, we just don't run it.
All right.
And then if that happens over the course of 2, 3, 4 years, where we put a course out there and offered it, and kids aren't signing up for it, that's when we decide to remove it from the books.
All right.
We see a consistent history of kids.
So
just
we'll
not
have,
taking it.
if we get into an analysis and if we want to ask some questions, and we could foreseeably wait till the next meeting.
Conceivably, I wanted to.
That was my only question.
Just as a reminder, I think we eliminated something
I was
like
wondering how many we
yeah,
eliminated.
26 or 27 classes recently in the last couple of years in high school.
Kind of a follow to where you're on the theme, Rodney. Next month, I'm going to present, I have doing an analysis on personnel. Basically, all the teachers that left at the end of the school year last year, the salary, wages, benefits, severance, and then we paid out versus who we hired this year. The idea is, our enrollment's dropping, or our teachers dropping. And I'll have that for everyone next month, which will show by names, because that was an issue before. Who are they? Who's left? Who's coming? I'll have all that for everyone to see that there has been a significant drop in dollars. Now, obviously, there's significant severances with people retire. All that'll be there. So you'll see. The only thing I can't narrow down to the brass tack is the substitute pay when they're that. I don't have it. Everything else we laid out. Who we hired, salaries they hired, what their wages are. And that's what I plan on doing every year, so we can see that we are trying to bring down the biggest expense we have, which is 80% of our wages and benefits. To show you what we're doing, what's left, who we brought on, and then what's the delta difference. All right, I'll have that next month with the help of Rich and his group.
Yeah, appreciate Mr. Blanchard doing that, and the numbers are pretty significant, so thanks for pointing that out.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone who has any comments or questions regarding the upcoming agenda items? Ms. Patterson? Can you come up to the microphone, please?
First of all, I wondered if I could ask, it was an interesting discussion, I wondered if I could ask these other attorney firms what their specific use
Of their specialties?
like Rensselaer Andrews, Richard Billis, Francis Bickles, Ganesh
Sure. Ohio School Boards Association we use for their legal assistance fund, and typically an opinion we don't need in writing, we can call and ask a question. If it's something that is pretty sensitive, they will direct us back to our own legal counsel, because they will not put anything in writing, but they will give us general statements regarding that. Finnish, Friedlander, Copland, and Aronoff were involved with us for general counsel and in negotiation. Squire, Sanders, and Dempsey I use for the levies and some fiscal related items with tax issues. Flanagan and Giffords are utilized for fiscal questions as well. Rich in contract, they work with contracts for us. Rich and Gillis Law Group are our
tax complaint consultants, and Retzel and Andrus have been historically approved by the district to do special education. However, we have been using Dennis Friedlander, Copeland, and Aronoff, but we've also kept a loyalty to Retzel and Andrus. And in the event that we would need them, they're more local, but we have actually not used them. Britton, Smith, Peters, and Khalil Company, LPA, are the attorneys that are attached to our insurance and would sit in our defense on any claims that were issued that we might need legal assistance for.
Thank you. And could I make another comment or ask another question? In regards to the upcoming boards meeting, I wonder if, maybe not the next one, I know it's a regular meeting at 7 p.m. and you just do all your business, but maybe going further beyond that to the next community meeting, if you would give some special attention to that agenda and see how it is organized, because I've gone to these for a long, long time, and my experience has been that it was just a nice celebration to have that organizational part, which is the title on this agenda, organizational meeting. And, you know, everybody could celebrate the new board, people coming in. Then stopping that meeting and starting a regular meeting. So I don't know if it's my age, you know, or maybe I always have had trouble organizing, but if I had to file this agenda, other than my date, and then go back and try to find something, it might really be confusing, because we have our organizational meeting, we have some regular business, we have a board work session, and all lumped into one.
Well, if I can speak to that briefly, I don't know if I can help, but, you know, in December, we had one meeting, which we traditionally have. And, you know, there's some business that we needed to do there, so we kind of put that together. As I mentioned earlier, there were a couple items that were a little bit time sensitive, and we wanted to make sure we got in with this meeting before the 23rd. So that's for the business piece. And then just in an effort really to be transparent, we were trying to make sure that everybody in the community heard and understood, as well as the board, what we are planning to present to them at the next meeting. So that was, yeah. So that
I
was,
guess being an English teacher, I just have, you know, some problem with this organization. I mean, it is titled organizational meeting, and so.
And if I could add on to that, it is titled the organizational meeting because it is the first annual meeting for the board to convene and to vote their new officers for the year, and to also conduct their regular business regarding the standing authorization. The Ohio school boards would tell you it is a scheduled meeting of the board, and anytime a quorum of the board is scheduled and is noticed and an item does come up for their approval, it is appropriate for it to be presented and approved by them. And the agendas did go out in enough time to, again, for transparency, so everyone is aware that there were a few more items. But generally, the standing authorization items are basically the same kind of resolutions that were in addition. We just had a few more.
And it wasn't, as far as this being a community meeting also, at a community meeting time, there was no opportunity for anybody to discuss anything. But, and what about how they used to do it, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, where they would separate out, you know, our own meeting, I don't know why they did that then, or how that, but I don't want to take about.
Janice, that was my point of order.
Oh.
It was exactly that.
Oh.
Okay, that
Yeah.
we feel, it was chosen not to be followed.
Okay. Well, thank you. If you would just consider the future.
Well,
If I could just throw this out there, it is cheaper for the board to just conduct their business during the organizational meeting. When they would stop a meeting and start a new meeting, they would get paid for 2 meetings. And this board, the board,
For 2 meetings instead of one.
You could have done a recess.
the board had chosen to just count it as one meeting.
Well, that's a big reason.
It's a big
There you go.
savings, yeah.
But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Brenner?
I just wanted to make a comment about something that was brought up. I believe it was at the candidates night. There was an announcement made about the AP classes and how our district has had more students pass their AP exams than ever before, and I wanted to just congratulate and wondered if that could be something that could be broadcast, because I think that's really something to be put out there. And my observation is I've had 4 kids go through this, and when my youngest daughter started, the AP exams were not required to be taken, and I think making them being required now has really probably bumped up the standard as far as passing. So what I'm wondering is if, and this just brings the whole thing up with the IB program and the future plans for it, why not take money to beef up the AP program, offer more AP classes that would benefit students, because I know if I counted in dollars how much my family saved having 4 gone to college, it would be a significant savings with them passing the AP exams. And I just wanted to make that comment because I feel that AP could be overlooked very easily. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Please come forward to the microphone.
I have a question, Mr. Bonacci. It's kind of hard to hear from the back, but you were talking about getting a report from Mr. Jackson, I believe.
The data, I'm putting it together.
Oh, you're putting,
Yes.
well, I talked to him and he said he's working with you.
That's correct.
And I'm going to assume, and sometimes that's not the right thing to do, but are we talking about the literature that was passed out during the levy campaign from 2000, the savings from 2006 to 2011?
No, what I'm looking at is just the teachers that have retired or resigned at the end of last school year in June of this year.
Why are you just looking at teachers? Why are you not looking at the total staff? And my question, because that is either an expense or it's a saving.
Right.
And my other question is that when I asked for this information on a public records request, there was no documentation. I was told to support what they were saying was a savings in any of the years that was on that sheet passed out to the community. So I would like to know where this documentation all of a sudden appeared and why you're just talking about teachers and not the whole picture to show the savings all around.
Right. First of all, it's taken me a lot of time, so I'm doing the classified, or the certified first. I will do the classified also, but I will have the certified done for meetings next month. I'm taking my time because I don't want to miss anything, because I don't want, the last thing I want to ever do is present something and someone say, I'm not human, but I don't want people to poke holes. So I want to make sure all my data is accurate, make sure I've got every name of everyone who has left, resigned, FMLA. I want to know everything we have.
Well,
So,
I applaud you for that,
Right.
because like I said, when I asked for that on public records request, I was denied that information. And when we were at these community meetings for the levy, when I brought that up, I was told, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. But when you were told or asked a question or put it into not cumulative savings, but perspective or
Right.
whatever term you used, you were applauded. And,
Right.
you know, I'm not a stupid person, and I believe that we need a little bit more transparency and we need a little bit more accuracy when the public records request, because I have the documentation to tell me that there's no documentation to support what they were saying. So
And-
I leave it at you as a board board member to be accurate, and I hope that you will also check the classified as
Absolutely.
well as the administration, as well as the teaching staff.
Yeah, and you'll get that, and the reason why I'm doing this is because of your concern during the levy campaign of not being able to identify names of who these people were, where they're switching around, and you know, that's why I can't go back, I'm only going back to this past year. I'm starting going forward, and I want to share with everyone what our costs are. Okay, so, give me a chance to put it together, look
I
back.
understand that, but I'm just hoping, and I'm making it at a public meeting, that you look at all avenues instead of just one area.
Absolutely. Actually, I probably misspoke. I just said teacher the certified. I just do one at a time. I'll have one ready. I'll have to come back, follow up with that class. Maybe I'll have them both done by next month.
And like I said, it's amazing that you're getting this and I couldn't get it at a public records request.
He's creating.
Yeah, he's actually creating it.
I'm
As a
creating
public
this.
records, we don't create records, and in the format that you asked for it, we had no record to respond to your request, and Mr. Bonacci has taken it
I
upon
will
himself
bring it
to
by-
create the record.
I will bring my documentation, and I have it from your office. I asked for the names of the parties that you said you saved money on, what their salaries were, what their benefits you saved, and any other expense that was incurred that you saved. And my reply was, there is no documentation to support it, and I will bring it to you.
Part of our responsibility under the open records law is to help the person requesting the information, help them word the request so that they can, and it's to word the request so that it is in the format of the information that you do have.
And we do, Mr. Armstrong, we do, to the very extent of the law, which has been one of the reasons I've employed legal counsel to protect this district, that we were in good faith responding to public records requests to the full extent of the law. And what I think I should make public to everybody is I brought, for an example, just one public record request in my office, and I'm going to show it to you just so you can all see that really we did do, in good faith effort for the requester, get and pull together everything that was asked for. This is it. One request. It took over a month. Go back into the archives. I can't even lift it all out. Everybody see this? This is one request. One. And let me read. When the gentleman came in to pick up the request, he took off a page off the top, one page, took it with him, flipped a dime at us, and said, "Thank you. I didn't think the treasurer would present this. Thank her for her honesty. Here's the dime." We stopped him and said, "Wait a minute. There's over 1,000 pages here. That's okay, I didn't want that." This is costing taxpayers money to answer these requests for some person to come in, task the department that is tasked with making sure we have a $70 million budget in compliance with the law, and we're stopping what we're doing to do this, and then be given a dime and walk away.
Can we go through that box and see how many duplicate pieces of paper there are in there?
You can do whatever you want
Okay,
with this,
I'd like
Mr.
that, and I
Armstrong.
will
We
pull
made a
through
good faith effort,
the
and we
duplicates.
do over and over and over again. Over and over and over again, and it costs us taxpayers a lot of money to be putting up with this from people who really don't want this information.
I think that is wrong, that you pulled that out with someone's name on it.
Yes.
and showed it to people. And I'm sorry,
This
but what I've
is
been
wrong.
told,
This is
what I have been
wrong.
It's a
told
public
is
record.
as a teacher, if I didn't like my job, I should get another job. If you don't like this job, Ms. Fulgren, you should get another
In
job.
tonight's, excuse me, point of order here.
Yes.
Okay, in tonight's meeting, according to the bylaws, we were supposed to appoint a designee, okay, required a designee to attend public records access training required by board members under revised code 10943. I have the revised code here. It was not done.
I know they can't hear my words.
I said, what I have here is a public record, and I was being transparent about it.
Okay, well, they want to make sure that they can hear. Thank you.
Right here. You need a copy of the
Mr.
revised code?
Armstrong, I know that, I know the law.
Okay, do you know our bylaws? Do you know that we have a bylaw here that we were supposed to follow tonight, and the agenda was not followed?
Mr. Armstrong.
Mr. Armstrong, I'd like to know why you didn't mention the public records coordinator if you were aware of it until now. Because you're right,
Because I
there was
thought
an
we were going
appointment for
to,
it.
I thought we were going through this whole section. 153, appointees was left off the agenda. We asked for revised agendas. I know several people did. Okay, they emailed and asked for them and were not given
I understand it, but
revised
you've never
agendas.
mentioned that before, so I'm just wondering why not.
And I was told that we were not given revised agenda.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Mrs. Tullo?
Just hold it. I feel your pain, Ms. Baldwin, but I understand that this is year to year. This is not just because you're here, because they're here. It happens because I've seen that thousands and thousands. You know, I think though, and I think, well, again, I think because your minutes are so not, first of all, you've taken them off. I know that, Ms. Baldwin, I know you don't like to hear it. You know, you say you do it, you know, by law. It's not, I don't think it's good enough. And excuse me, I'm speaking. No, not, but I just really think that, you know, it would save you a lot of time, your office a lot of time, if those things were put back on, because that's the paper trail. And we don't have a paper trail anymore. We haven't had for years, few years now. That I resent, because that is your paper trail. And you know, people, it's just, that is a good way to be transparent, is all I'm saying. I think so. But I do understand that it's a pain in the butt, you know, those record requests. I understand it.
My office works very hard
I
to
know
be
they do.
transparent to the public, Mrs. Doolittle. And this,
Well, your minutes are not.
this comment and question is regarding the board's upcoming regular meeting to put this back in order.
Are there any other comments for the upcoming agenda?
I wanted to know if they're going to be approving the meetings from the December 20th meeting. That was, you mentioned there was only one meeting, but I think there was 2 meetings. And that meeting, there was 2. One was able to be recorded and the other one was not, which I believe is against the sunshine rules. You're not aware of the sunshine rules? Okay.
I'm aware of the sunshine.
Okay, now, is there an explanation why the gentleman was not allowed to record, and who voted on it, or when was it voted on?
I believe it was voted on at that time.
During the meeting?
At the
Beginning.
At the beginning, so the camera should have been rolling, or was he told not to even start the camera beforehand?
It was beforehand.
It was beforehand, so was it, among the people that were on the board? Before the meeting, did you guys all talk about that beforehand?
No, we're
During
not.
the beginning of the meeting, during the meeting,
The
he
meeting-
said, shut us down.
Okay, but we should have that on tape because I believe Mr. Van Oss always starts his camera beforehand. Is that, Mr. Van Oss, is that true? Was his camera set up beforehand and running?
I honestly can't recall.
Yes, it
myself,
was.
it?
His,
Camera was
was
set
it,
up.
was it running?
That I
Well, we
don't.
don't,
I don't know.
we don't.
Mr. Van Oss, could you come up here and answer my question, please?
Okay, I'm sorry, this is about the upcoming
This is
agenda.
what I'm talking about. This is transparency. Don't roll your eyes, Ms. Bowler.
This is about
This is about,
regular.
okay, and I'm asking, I want to know if those meeting notes are going to be approved. Okay. But you have a hard time when you are always throwing out, we go by the sunshine law.
Well, the meeting minutes will be available at the next meeting.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is I want to know why that was not done, the video. Because that was a clear breaking of the law.
I would disagree that it was breaking the
Okay,
law.
can you tell me how?
Because the sunshine law says in order for a quorum of the board to meet to discuss school business, they must first have noticed the meeting. Our board has noticed the meeting, they did meet legally, and everything went as it should have. Prior to a member of the public ever coming and videotaping us, this board has met for years and years and years and years, and they did not break the law. They did not break the law, and nobody videotaped them. So I do not believe that the sunshine law says that in
And it
order
also
public.
states that, it does state that it is allowed, anybody can report a public meeting. It was a public meeting, the board denied it.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
Can I get a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Mr. Spangler, seconded by Mr. Armstrong.
That was the first one. Look at that.
Mr. Spangler.
Mr. Spence.
Yeah,
Probably
aye.
roll call.
Aye. Mr. Armstrong.
Aye.
Aye.
Mrs. Stow.
Aye.
Can you guys stick around for Rudy?
Can you give a signed copy of the campus?
Did I give you mine?
I'm not sure.
No, no, here it is.
Turn off the bike.
What reason did you have to bring it here this evening?
Move out of the way.
What reason?
Gina.
Sure.
Be honest about everything, or we wouldn't have this problem. What reason she had to bring that, I have no idea. And my husband never threw any money at anybody.
Had your name on it?
Yes. Do you have a picture on here? Would you take my picture? Will you tell me I want to take a picture of that. Can I take, I don't have a camera that does it.
Oh, you want to take a picture?
I want to take a picture of that box.
You want to borrow my camera? I'll send it to you.
Gotta run, guys.
See ya.
I want to, so I have proof. I'm going to see the lawyer about this. I did it at a public meeting to discredit you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Will you take it with me?
I just,
I will get you, sir, under the class.
Oh,
I could just,
it just irritates me because you and I had this discussion.
well, I hope I'm not irritated.
No.
Okay.
No,
I'm trying to do good things.
At the time, that paper came out.
I get you where you're coming from. But I'm just trying to, that's what I'm trying to do.
Who's boss? You want it?
Thank you, Mr.